Hey guys, it's Gabby. So I of course get asked all the time what kinds of things beginners can do to get started in the industry. It's a hot topic and it's something that we hear about a lot. Really, I think anybody who does voiceovers for a living gets asked this question probably at least a few times a month, if not a couple times a week. Just yesterday I had flowers delivered for my anniversary, and the flower delivery man wanted to know how to get into voiceovers. So I figured rather than go on and on and on about how I think you should do it, I would ask my friends. So I asked a bunch of professional voiceover actors who I respect and think of very fondly, and whose opinion I think will be valuable for all of you. So we talked to them about how to get started in the voiceover industry. Let's see what they've got to say.
On the internet, anyone can basically go on and claim to be a voice actor. But what's going to make you different, what's going to make you shine, is getting that voiceover training that everyone so desperately needs and thinks they don't need. You've got to get trained in voiceovers, and you have to be patient and know that eventually you'll build your client base if you're good. And if you give your clients what they want, they will continue to call you and continue to use you.
I learned and I grew so much through that process because I had a wonderful director, producer that really held my hand through the beginning. I think he saw my potential. He was willing to work with me and have the patience to get me from really where I started to where I am now. And I really appreciate that in a sense, he was my first voiceover coach.
I emailed a pretty prominent voiceover guy in the business and just introduced myself. I asked him if he could point me in the right direction, and he got back to me and said, take voiceover classes. At first, I was really taken aback. I mean, I had just come from Chicago, Market 3, and I've been voicing commercials for a couple of decades now, and this guy's telling me to take a voiceover class. But fortunately, I didn't let my ego get the best of me. I found a voiceover coach whose website posed some questions to you, the potential voiceover student, such as what is your signature voice, how do you deal with agents, casting directors, and all the various protocols involved in a studio session. And I saw that, wow, this is definitely different than the radio world.
I ended up emailing that radio personality who emailed me like 10 minutes later. I asked him, how do you get into it? What's the deal, basically? And he emailed back right away, to my surprise, and told me to take classes, education. Apparently that was where it's at.
And I'll tell you what, the one thing that I have learned, because this is a very interesting business now, because we are by ourselves in our booths, we never have that second set of ears to tell us what we're doing right and wrong. And so it's good to have a coach such as Gabby who can come alongside you and walk you through the process and tell you, hone in on what you're doing right, and encourage you to maybe change paths and do what the industry is asking you to do to be able to be successful.
If you are just starting out in VO, I know that there is a genre that you are going to specialize in after you get the basics down. This field of VO is always expanding. It doesn't look like it's going to quit anytime soon. I don't think computers are anywhere close to being able to imitate the human voice without sounding stupid. So I think until they smooth that voice out so that it sounds like a human voice, we have no trouble in this business.
One thing, though, I will say is that it is very important to do your homework, do your due diligence, make sure that you understand the industry lingo, make sure you understand what the business of voiceover is. It's much more than just standing in front of a microphone and reading a copy.
It takes work. It takes time. I can't stress enough how important your education is, how important networking and marketing is. These are things that I focused on and was, and I kept very good notes from the business standpoint too, my bookkeeping, to make sure that money coming in and going out, I understood what was working, what some of the investments were good, some that weren't, and continued to make decisions and adjust my course as I went along to make sure that I was working as efficiently as I possibly could.
So if I were to sum things up on how to jumpstart a VO career, I'd say start with coaching and classes and you have to network like crazy. I could spend an hour giving you stories throughout my career of how one contact led to another and to another and to another, and it may have been years ago, and now I'm getting business from it. So definitely network. Do it organically. Be natural about it. There's nothing more annoying than when you see a person and you know they're talking to you only because they think you can do something for them. So just be natural about it and let things fall into place.
One of my mentor, Scott Rummel, had told me that voiceover is a marathon, not a sprint. And as eager as I was to break into this and make strides, it took a long time. It took about 4 years, like I said, before I got the big break, and even maybe a year or so after that before it was really kind of consistently growing. And it's still growing now, and hopefully it doesn't stop until I'm ready to get off myself.
There really wasn't any internet or any way else to get into this business, so I did it the hard way. Moved up to New York because I had dreams and aspirations. I got an agent in the city and started, pounding the pavement, going on auditions, getting rejections, feeling the pain. I've been humiliated by various agents, various casting directors. I've had one casting director burst out into tears because she hated my audition so much. Yeah, some painful things, but you know what? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right?
I really hit my stride when I was 18, had finished my first year of college in a communications degree, and found a radio station that was willing to take a chance on me. And I would work anytime they'd let me. I would work spring break, summer break, winter break, whenever. I remember working the 6 p.m. to midnight shift, would go and take my sleeping bag and pillow up to the sales department and come back down and do the 6 a.m. to noon shift. I was ecstatic that someone would pay me to do what I love.
But I had finally caught a break. There was a Minute Maid TV commercial that I'd auditioned for and I'd got. And it was great. And I did, you never know when you audition for these, and even when you're doing the session, where they're going to air, when, and the length of the campaign. But friends of mine started calling me one night and said, "Hey, are you doing a Minute Maid commercial?" And I said, "Well, yeah, actually I am." It says, "You're on American Idol." And my Minute Maid commercial is playing every week on American Idol. And then it played that summer during the Beijing Olympics. So I was very fortunate that I had that break.
I didn't get to where I am today easily or quickly. And I do think that one of the things as I look back on my career is that I wish I would have known some of the things then that I do know now. Because we didn't have the availability of learning things on the internet, I just basically had to learn by doing, learn by making mistakes. I put out a demo the very first time, and I can't imagine why anyone hired me, but they actually did. They must have been desperate. And somebody here locally in Lincoln, Nebraska needed a new voice for a furniture store. And that's where it all started for me.
I was working at a radio station. This is years and years ago, before I even thought about having a studio in my home. An ad agency who had a bank as a client contacted me and asked if I would like to do some spots for them. And I said, "You mean you'd pay me to do the spots?" And they said, yes, they would run on other stations in the market I was in. I was in Anchorage, Alaska at the time. So I did the spots, and I hear them on stations where I don't work. And I'm just amazed. And then within about 3 or 4 weeks, I get a check from this agency. And I'm telling you, it was one of the funnest days of my life to think that I could actually get paid to do what I love to do. And that was the humble beginnings of my voiceover stuff.
I encourage you in your journey of voiceover, and appreciate the opportunity to share with you a little bit. Good luck.